Hi, welcome back. I've made this really cute birthday card using a gel plate. I'm not very good with the gel plate, so I've had a little play, and as soon as that one turned out, I thought, oh, that reminds me of the world, and I'm going to have a look and see what I can make with it. So this is the gel plate I've used, and it's by Lavinia Stamps, and it's a 5-inch gel plate. So I'm leaving one of the backing carrier pieces on and just getting some ink. This is just my normal dye ink and a brayer. So I've picked some blue up, just lightly going over, taking the excess off onto some copier paper. Bringing in some green and going straight on top of that blue with the green. Then I'm bringing in some Tip Top taupe. And that's it, what you have to do for the inks. Now with some water and a fan brush, I'm just going to do some splats onto the gel plate. Not too much, I don't want to saturate it. And so you can see the effect it's doing, I'm just going to flip that gel plate over onto that copier paper, and as you can see, the moisture absorbs into the paper to create those patterns. And of course, depending on what colours you use, how much water you use, and not one is ever going to turn out the same. But as you can see, it's a lovely way to create a background. So I'm going to leave that to one side now to dry, and bring in one that I've already made. So I've cut some pieces of the octagon die. I've used the largest one to cut 2 pieces for the base card. And then the next one down to cut out the gel plate piece. I do apologise for this blurredness. That is a piece of card measuring 2.5 by 1. Sorry, that first bit was 2 7/8 by 1, scoring at a half. The second one is the stability base, and that's 2 7/8 by 4. But I will go through all this with you at a later stage as well as we go along. And that's my sentiment strip, and I've just scored at the ends of both of those, and I've just cut it down with my trimmer. There's nothing fancy about that, and I've just put a 1/4 inch score mark. So that piece that measures 2 7/8 by 1, that's going to be my joining hinge for those 2 pieces. So just putting glue down on one side first, making sure that the right side is facing on the outside. Just placing that down. Then pop in the glue on the opposite side. Making sure the best side is facing the outside. And if you stand it up on the desk like I'm doing there, making sure the bottom is exactly meeting flush, then everything will fit perfectly. And giving that a good burnish. There you go, and that's your base made. So popping that to one side to dry. Can work on the embellishments. So after searching all my stash, this pen, it's a Stampin' Right marker in Tangerine Tango, and it matches perfectly with the cardstock, which is not Stampin' Up, but it does match perfectly with it. So all I'm doing is going round. These octagon dies are by Sue Wilson, and they're a stitched die. So what I've done is I've just put my rule to the stitched decorative edge, and that is what I'm using as my width guide for that marker pen. So I have done 2 of these, and they do measure 2.5 by 1. And on the 2.5 side, score at a half, 3/4, 1, 1.5, 1 3/4, and 2 inches. I'm telling you need 2, but after I'd finished this video, I did put another 2 on the top and bottom. So if you are going to follow this tutorial to the letter, then I would advise doing 4 of those stability springs that I'll show you when we come to do them. Now I've lost the H, so just having the scout round for it. Thinking that I've got to make another one, but I've found it. So just doing a dummy run with the lettering. And how I've done these is I've just looked in my scrap. So I'm just using scrap pieces of patterned card. And I've cut those letters out in silver mirror card as a base, and these are the Sizzix Thinlits dies, and then I've cut them out again in the it's like a burnt orange colour, and then the blue to do the alternate colours on the card. The die set well, it is a die set, it's a die and a stamp set I've got. It's a clearly besotted one, and I've just used a few off there, but there is 2 die sets on that. The larger, I'm going to say aliens, they're called the Blimps, and that's by Woodware Stamps. These ones I'm using are the clearly besotted ones. I've had them a long time. I don't know even if they're available anymore. But as soon as I'd done the gel printing, it just lent itself, in my mind, to use what I'd got in my collection. To join the silver mirror and the coloured paper or coloured card together, all I've done is I've popped some sellotape on the back just to keep those letters in place, as I've had to paper piece them back in. The glue I'm using in that bottle is Kalal all-purpose glue. It does give you some wiggle room, this glue, but once it's set, it's properly set, it won't move at all. But at least if you do want to tweak stuff, like I always want to tweak things, it does give you that little wiggle room. Now, as you can see, I'm going to start just tweaking a bit. And I'm going to tweak a bit more in a second. Now for this bit, I just cut the sentiment out of the stamp set, trimmed it with my paper trimmer, and just put a 1/4 of an inch score line in. Gave it a little rounding with my bone folder. I don't want it really sticking up, but I do want some prominence with that sentiment. So I'm just going to put some glue on that little tab. And you can see where we've got that bow on the sentiment. Now, for the alien ship and the alien, I've cut it out with the die in white, and then I've stamped it onto the coloured card. And I've cut out that blue card, but taking off, just skimming the whole thing round, but not doing the feet. I've stamped the white die cut and put the feet in that, and just put a silver pen and then paper piece that blue part on top. I hope that makes sense for you. And I've just cut that out of white card with the die, and then stamped the image onto that orange card and fussy cut it out. I've put a little bit of white Posca pen around the eye, and then stuck the wobbly eye onto it. So this is how those little springy pieces come together. So you've got your card, and all you're going to do is start with a mountain fold, a valley fold, and then a mountain. And do the same on the opposite side. So you're doing a mountain, a valley, and a mountain. Put them together, and the two larger pieces will overlap, and that is your gluing tab. So that's what you should have when you've done your little bit of folding with your fingers. And put the ends together, so that is the shape you've created. So just glue one of those flaps. Don't press them too hard, because you might take the spring out of them, but you can certainly push it flat. If you didn't want to make a box, you can push it flat to go in an envelope. So although I am going to glue these in the position that you are going to see, after I made it and stopped filming, I did decide that I was going to put another two on the opposite ends. So like I've got from side to side, I've put another one at the bottom and a one at the top. So now mine does have 4 on, which I think would be better. This card, the base card, does measure 7 by 7. So yeah, I was happy putting those extra ones on. Now I've got a bag of stars, and I'm just going to choose some 3 silver stars out of this set to pop on. Just have a look what you've got in your stash. I'm sure we've all got more than what we bargained for when we start looking in our collection. So I'm just adding 1 drop of the Nuvo glue on there, the quick grab glue. And I'm staggering those stars, and I'm just using the 3. And popping a bit more glue down on that embellishment. So when I'm looking at that card, I'm thinking it don't look level. It really, I wasn't happy with it at all. And like I say, with the Kalal, it does give you a little bit more wiggle room. So just pop in some more glue on it. I'm going to stand up so I can see a little bit better when I'm placing that card down. And that is a lot better. Now the stability base, as I always do on my 10-fold cards, that measures 2 7/8 by 4. So you've scored on the 4 side at a half, 2 and 3 1/2. Done your fold and burnishing and popping your glue on. With the front side first, with that folded edge towards the front, you can pop it down. And fold it together and bring that back up, and you'll hear it just slip into place. Then you can give it a burnish. So as you can see there, I wasn't happy with that top and bottom, so I thought that gap looked a little bit big, so that's why I've put another 2 of those springy sections in, one at the top, one at the bottom, and it is so sturdy now. So if you're going to do that, make sure you do 4 and not 2 like I've shown you on this video. Bringing the other one back in, which is a really fold flat card, and then my springy one as a comparison, but both done with the gel presses. I hope you've liked them. Like and subscribe. Ring that bell to see any other notifications I pop on, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you so much for watching.